It's the mindset that I cannot change other people.
Yeah.
So, and there will be people that will come at us as politicians that will be angry. And, to a certain level, you have to let them and understand that what can I do moving forward? So it's the let them, but it's also the let me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the other side of it, is how do I move forward? What can I do? Because I can't change how people are going to think or feel or react. I can only change those things about myself.
Hello, everyone. This month, we are still continuing to celebrate women, and specifically women in my life who have brought such beautiful influences. So I'm going to be inviting a wonderful lady in my life who has shaped me and has taught me resilience through her wisdom, and has influenced a lot of what I do and how I show up in my political world. Today's guest is someone I have had the privilege of working for over 8 years. Rhonda Mulcahy has been a local councillor, a regional councillor, and a deputy mayor. And I have shared all of those titles as well. And it is a privilege of knowing her and working with her. She's not only my colleague, but someone I look up to and someone I instantly go and ask questions and see what she thinks, because I believe her opinions matter to me, and her strength is her wisdom and her guidance in her own way. So I really, really appreciate it. And she's a steady voice in the political world and in our community. She's a fierce advocate of our community, someone whose resilience is deeply admired and appreciated. Rhonda is a strong advocate of numerous initiatives within our town. She also runs her newspaper in town of Whitby, Brooklyn, Ontario. And she's very, very connected with her family, and her community, and our community means so much to her. And we will listen to her about it. Over the past few years, whenever things have gone a bit difficult and things have been uncertain, politically, maybe personally, we've always had these conversations about challenges in our lives. And what stands out to me personally is how Rhonda brings a constructive tone, and always forward focus is her, how should I say it, her go-to kind of a thing. And she's not only that positive person, but she's also very grounded. There is one idea that Rhonda introduced to me, and we often talk about it. It is the let them theory. And I absolutely love how she incorporates that in our everyday life. In our public life, we all know we cannot control people and other people's behaviors. And sometimes we cannot even call out those behaviors. Although we might want to some days, but that is the life, and that's what it is. But what we could do is we could protect our peace, we can protect our sanity, and sometimes, hey, let them, right? So I'm going to introduce our guest, and Rhonda, how are you?
I'm great, Maleeha. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And that was quite the introduction. Thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure. And I can honestly tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure to learn from you and work with you. We, I think, have really evolved our relationship into understanding each other. So thank
you. Absolutely. I think that over the years, we have become very close in that we know we can rely on each other and sound ideas off of each other. So I am very grateful to work with you every day and call you my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rhonda, we talk about the let them theory, right?
A lot.
Lately, we've talked about it to its upteen time, right? So for those who are listening and are not familiar with this term, let them, I want you to explain, what does let them actually mean, and how does it work with our line of work in our personal life? And it could resonate with anybody anyway. I would like to explain it. I would like you to explain it.
So in my mind, the reason I really connected with the let them theory, Mel Robbins' theory that she's put together, is because she's backed it with some neuroscience. And, in every reference that she makes, she explains why you have to let them. So, and I think everybody has a story, and whether you're in public life or not, we all deal with the same issues in our life. And it could be our family, it could be our friends, it could be people we work with. But understanding that the minute we understand that we cannot change other people, we can only influence them. We can set good examples. We can live our life in a certain way to try to show the path that's the right way to do things. And knowing that, the harder we push to try to change someone, the less likely they are to change. That the best way to live is to think about it as let them.
Yeah.
Let them. So, and we've all had people in our lives that have come and gone. Like we've all dealt with people perhaps with addiction or with mental health issues. And I think it's really important to understand that, the harder you push someone, when you really have to let them discover where the bottom is and let them feel the pain in order to make those changes themselves. So in my world, I mean, we've all had this affect us, but in my world, how it's affected me is I've started to understand, and, it's taken me some time in my years to understand that I need to move forward and do what I can do to make things better. And hopefully people will start to understand that I'm letting them, and they can come with me, or they can go proceed the way they have been. So, yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful, right? And one thing that kind of is coming up or sticking up is the fact that sometimes we have to let them hit rock bottom, right? Because we've tried everything.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. That's beautiful, actually. I hope it doesn't happen. And I don't mean it in an unkind way, but.
No, it's and I'm not just talking about addiction. I'm talking about, in people's behaviors. Maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's, work ethic, maybe it's career objectives. Sometimes they need to see, where the path they're taking them is going, and understand that there is formulas you can follow to find success in those other ways, right? So, there's a great example in the book that she gives about when she's starting her career as a motivational speaker, and she's told for 2 years, here's the formula. Here's what you have to do. You have to build a website, and then you have to post on your social media every single day. And she hesitates. For 2 years, she hesitates. Yeah. And when she tells this story, you start to understand that, I've done that. I've hesitated for whatever reason, fear of being judged, fear of people thinking that, whatever they're thinking of me. And when you get past that and you realize that, you follow the formula that's been proven by everybody else out there that succeeded, it works. And once she started to do it and realized how important it was to do that, to follow that formula, it was successful. So, but she had to figure that out, and somebody had to let her, despite the being encouraged to do the right thing.
That is really beautiful. Actually, it resonates with me so much because I started this podcast journey after sitting through this for over a year, and I filmed my first one in January here. And when the first one came out, I sat on it for weeks because I was so vulnerable, because I'm just putting every word out there. Everything's going to get recorded. But the beauty of it all is that we're human. Mm-hmm. And we need, and there's so much to share between us and many others who are going to be here sitting with just like you. And I think that message needs to go out. In this world that is so uncertain, that is so everywhere, and the public life that we lead, it often means that, or absorbing that, how can we create the spaces that we have, which has that acceptability, right? Which has the acceptability to let them and just sit with that. Right. It's beautiful. So I'm going to ask you one tough question, and I think it's tough for me. That's why I'm saying it. Maybe it's not tough for you.
Okay.
In public life, criticism happens. it's the most natural way. Sometimes it's fair and sometimes it's not. And we've been through that in the past few years together. How has let them helped you maintain your composure and protect your peace?
So I think when criticism is something that you face as a public official, you have to really understand, is it helpful? Is it truthful? Is it something you can act on? Is it something that you can appreciate where it's coming from? I think it's always important to be empathetic and understand perhaps, what struggles other people are going through. Sometimes it's uncalled for.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite often it is in this world that we live in and work in. And, I think very often people don't understand that we're human too.
Yeah.
And they don't understand perhaps we've struggled through similar situations that they have. So I've always just tried to put it into perspective and understand that they are going through something where they feel they need to criticize, and that's fine. We signed up for a role where we have to be able to handle it within reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes in a word that is coming up right now, and that often I use this word is resilience, right?
Yeah.
So resilience is different for everyone. For me, I had to build it in a very challenging way. So for me, my question to you is resilience keeps us steady, right?
Yes.
How has been resilience too? I think the let them theory helps us stay resilient. Has that helped you?
Certainly. It's the mindset that I cannot change other people.
Yeah.
So, and there will be people that will come at us as politicians that will be angry. And, to a certain level, you have to let them and understand that what can I do moving forward? So it's the let them, but it's also the let me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the other side of it is, how do I move forward? What can I do? Because I can't change how people are going to think or feel or react. I can only change those things about myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Rhonda, there's so much we're unpacking right now in our own way. Have you seen that? I think we've packed criticism. We've packed a lot of behaviors that we deal with, and I'd say it's okay to say daily because that's our daily, right? For us, let them isn't about disengaging because we can't.
No.
We cannot disengage because we hold that public office that we have to keep the engagement going, and have those difficult conversation, and that is our public responsibility. So maybe let them is the first half of the equation, but let's just say let them say whatever they want to, or let them misunderstand us, or let them, right, in general. However, in a very kind way, we cannot disengage, and
No.
we agree that we have to keep the engagement up, let people connect with us, share their stories, and not only let them but let me kind of now is coming into a strategy where we choose our responses, we choose to protect our energy, and we choose alignment with our own values, right? And the let me part comes in when we choose how to decide how we show up. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
So the thing is, let them is not a dismissal of people's thoughts or feelings. It's not dismissing who they are. It's looking at it from the perspective of, you cannot change other people. They have to change themselves.
Yeah.
That's up to them.
Yeah.
And it's not my place to judge. It's not my place to, try to force any change. The only thing I can do in a response to that is let me show the way that I'm going to proceed. Let me think about things differently. Let me process what their reaction is and try to move forward in a way that's helpful, that's collaborative. And, as an elected official, I think it's really important for us to tap into that and understand that. So it's not necessarily about being argumentative or having conflict with people. It's about understanding how I move forward with that. So we've had some challenges. We have had some great challenges locally. And, I think listening is really important, but also leading by example and showing compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
So while we might not always agree, I think there's always common ground that we can find with people. And sometimes that common ground lies in working together in the community to help people that need it the most.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful because the real power isn't in let them, maybe, but it is in what comes after, which is let me, showing by example, right? Not giving our power. Listening and not feeling overwhelmed about it, taking criticism as opinions. It can be a constant noise. I don't take it as noise. I would just say when the world around us becomes so loud, we move towards let them and then we transition into let me. And I often talk about this in my book as well, which is forthcoming, about the fact that how do we thrive in the loud world that we live in? How do we find that certainty? So I really do appreciate your how should I say, wisdom in it. But I want to read something, and I'm sorry, I'm bringing my phone out. I wanted not to bring it out, but it's I want to read something in the book that I think Rhonda can reflect better and help me dissect this a lot. So in the book, it says, you can't control how other adults behave, and stressing about diminishing your power. You'll never reach the full potential of your life if you continue to allow stupid things, sorry, bad words, or rude people to drain your life and its force. Let them theory or protect yourself from the unnecessary stress that other people are currently causing in your life. So this is part of the book. And I think she wrote it beautifully. When people around us who are adults who should know better behave in different ways, I think in order to protect our power or our sanity, you have shown the let them theory. Now, I want you to unpack this. I'm not asking you a question. I want you to just help me help others who are listening understand this.
Well, I think she says it very well, that at our core, we're all 8-year-olds emotionally. And the minute you start to understand that every adult out there is just an 8-year-old emotionally.
Really?
and so our initial reactions to things is that of an 8-year-old. So temper, sadness, critical thinking. I mean, we are all 8-year-olds at our core. And when we start to understand that we need to be the mature adult in the room, no matter what everyone else is doing, then we start to harness the control over our own emotions, but also over the, consequences of people behaving like 8-year-olds. And I think it's really insightful, and I always I pull back to those situations where, if people are angry or upset, and their reaction isn't some that, we look at very as a helpful scenario. What would you do if this was your 8-year-old child? And and as mothers, I think we understand it's take a breath, tamp down your initial reaction, and ask, how can I help you? How can we change this? What do you think will make it better? And this has been helpful in my mindset, reading this. And when you start to equate everyone as an 8-year-old, it starts to make sense.
It definitely makes sense. Rhonda, as I had started this podcast, I had said that throughout the month of March, I would be celebrating International Women's Day because I believe it should be celebrated all year long, but hence March is the month that I am talking about this. We, in the town of Whitby, in the council, we have a majority of women, and I love that. To the listeners who are listening, and I'm not going to apologize, this has become female centric. I think there is so much to learn from here, and everybody can take those nuggets that I'm learning today. What would be your message?
Oh, we need to be very mindful that women can be our biggest supporters, but also our worst enemies. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to be very supportive to one another. Um, there's been a lot lately about affordability, and I belong to a social media group that's a women's group. And one comment or a post a couple of weeks ago really sort of hit me in my core. A woman asking for help financially, looking for advice from the community of women. And a lot of the suggestions that were coming through were I save money by doing my own hair and I'm not getting my nails done and et cetera. A lot of what was upsetting me was, though, this is a women's group and these
Mm-hmm.
are all women's businesses. And quite often these women are the breadwinners in their homes. So I just caution that when we are looking at our finances, to remember the businesses that you're cutting out of your finances
Mm-hmm.
are often the women that need the money to support their families. Um, the other thing I will say about supporting women is when we see other women that are successful, that maybe are looking really great or, have a successful business or, they're achieving great things, we can't be jealous.
Yeah,
We have to look at
absolutely.
them and say, how did they get there?
What can we learn from them?
What can we learn from them?
Yeah.
That's the roadmap that we need. And
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
And that's what's most important here. It's not about must be nice. It's about how do I do that?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and that's where, as women, we need to really step it up, I think. And I think we're getting there. Every year we talk about this, but, we still have work to do. And it's celebrate the women that are around us that are doing great things, like you.
Yeah. And that's why we've always connected, and that's why I've connected with Shireen Simon, who's recording this, because I saw that this is a local Whitby women business. And not that I have issues with any other sexes out there, it's just the fact that I really wanted to give her that chance to enhance and make that, how should bring that color in my life of sharing that message of collaboration, sharing that message of resilience, finding solutions to our challenges. And that's what I believe that you and I have found this company in each other, because we uplift each other. We've always talked about solutions, and I love that. And I think the let them theory, or let me component part of it, is the solution oriented approach towards finding that break in our challenges. I know that we've talked about life and the critical challenges that we face every day, and the turning point in our politics where bad behaviors unfortunately have become the new normal, right? Where unkindness unfortunately sometimes appreciated. And I know wherever it's coming from, whatever the challenges they're coming from, it's happening, right? And that was the one reason that I started my book journey 3 years ago, because I found unkindness kind of coming up, rising. And I wanted to share that with a lot of people out there, that as Canadians, our values have always been compassion, always been kindness, always been out there helping each other. That's how we are recognized in the world stage. So, coming back to you, Rhonda, you have a successful business as a journalist. You have a newspaper that goes out in your community. You've been a mother of highly functional adults as kids who are athletes. You have been a strong advocate for the new Whitby Sports Complex as well. Excuse me. With how the world is turning and how people are reacting, what would be your message to them?
You can never go wrong with being kind to one another.
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose in being kind to people. So the success of my business is because I started a newspaper to bring a community together that was very divided back in 2000. We had an old community and a new community, and they really weren't meshing very well. So the newspaper's purpose, the entire purpose of my business model was bringing people together. So, and that's what I've stood on as far as my whole career goes. You know, the community that I serve knows that about me. And that's my pride, actually. I take it very seriously. To me, it's about bringing people together. And division is never helpful in a community.
Yeah,
Never.
No, that's true.
Kindness can never go wrong. And making sure that people feel included and connected is only going to drive a better community. So, you know, and when it comes to sport, my kids competed in individual sports. They were not part of team, quote unquote teams, but they were part of organizations. They supported one another. So quite often they would race head to head with another competitor at a high level. We're talking international level. And they would also be friends with the same people they were racing neck and neck with in every race. And we would socialize with the parents of those kids. We would stay at each other's homes as we traveled. This is what I talk about when I talk about leading by example, because you can never go wrong with kindness. They can go and murder each other on the ice or in a mountain bike race, you know, and you know, give it everything they've got. But at the end of that race, they better fist pump each other and understand that it's just a race.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have to wrap up because I've got the 5-minute signal, but there's one thing that you have shared with me often is what you saw when your kids were competing and there were boos out there when they were doing well. And I want you to summarize that as your last word, because I think that how you share it, I can never articulate it. You need to hear it from her.
So there was a point where two of my children were some of the top athletes in Canada on the ice in speed skating, actually. And there were boos in the audience from other provinces, let's say. And, you know, they would get off the ice and they'd be really upset. And I'd look at them and say, honey, that's just because you're doing so great.
I love that.
So when people are booing you, you have to understand it's because you're successful. And never let that stop you.
That's beautiful. I love that. Rhonda, thank you so much for your steady presence. You've been a strong, beautiful presence in my political journey of 8 years. And I've learned so much from you in terms of perspective, in terms of resilience. And you can see from this podcast how genuine, how intentional, and how natural she comes across. And that's what I love. And I really, really appreciate all of you listening in. Thank you so much for celebrating this series of International Women's Day, celebrating each other. Let's lift each other. Let's make an impact in this world where sometimes uncertainty takes over, but we can take over and let them, but also let me. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. But please, if you can, leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. I really want to know what's going on. Let's hash it together.